The framework is centered on 5 key elements that will guide our engagement with the Iranian authorities to ensure, first, full and unhindered access for officials to and within Iran to provide consular services. Second, ensure that the victim identification process is conducted with dignity, transparency, and according to international standards, and that the wishes of the families regarding repatriation are respected in all cases. Third, ensure a thorough, independent, and transparent international investigation open to grieving nations, governed by the Convention on International Civil Aviation. Fourth, ensure Iran assumes full responsibility for the downing of Flight PS-752 and recognizes its duties to the families of the victims, including compensation. Fifth, ensure accountability for those responsible to an independent criminal investigation, followed by transparent and impartial judicial proceedings which conform to international standards of due process and human rights. We have seen cooperation from Iran so far, but we continue to monitor on a daily basis and urge continued cooperation. We will continue to share information and lessons learned with each other, to stand in solidarity, and to speak with one voice as we pursue justice for the victim of this horrific tragedy. So that's why we are calling, as the grieving nations, for allowing international experts to participate in all aspects, in the aspect of identifying the remains with DNA experts, in having also experts when it comes to the investigation to make sure. I think what the world is asking today is full accountability and full transparency and full cooperation by Iran. This is really what we are asking, but I think that's what the world community would be expecting from Iran these days. We're very grateful for the Dutch contribution. We have taken their lessons learned. Minister Bok, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands, was spending a good part of the day with us about lessons learned. Because tragically in MH17 there was some learning, and we certainly want to apply those lessons learned to work in cooperation. We even asked the Dutch government if they would agree to have observers in our different working groups that we have decided to set up, because we want to make sure that, and I think the families of the victims and their loved ones deserve that we use the best possible expertise that you can find around the world and the lessons learned in MH17, because one of the things that as the international community wants is that obviously we want to get to the bottom of things. So I would think that today is not the day to assign blame. It's the day for us to work together to ensure that we would have answers to the questions that the Iranian government has accepted full responsibility, but when you accept full responsibility, there's consequences coming from that, and that's what we're going to be pursuing. Compensation flows directly from the full admission of responsibility by the Iranian government. So we would expect them to obviously undertake discussion with obviously the grieving nations with respect to compensation for the families of the victims and their loved ones in accordance with international